Good evening, and thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Jessica Blum here in the 1011 Now Alert Center. We are pivoting from just following breaking news just west of Lincoln with a crash near Denton, two-vehicle crash. We do have the latest information on that up on our website. But now we're switching gears, and we've got to talk about the forecast going into the end of this week, because I think a lot of us are starting to have eyes on the chance for thunderstorms in the state of Nebraska, as well as potential for severe weather for the first time in eastern Nebraska as well for this 2026 year. So a lot going on with that. This is kind of a classic spring system that could set up winter and snow on one side of the state and certainly thunderstorms on the other. But as we get going here this evening, I'll first show you our headlines in the next big change. Rain chances today through Friday, though those will remain light in the meantime until we can get to a couple of chances for those thunderstorms Thursday night into Friday, and then again Friday, depending on round one. When we see rounds of thunderstorms back to back, the atmosphere certainly needs time to recharge, rejuvenate, replenish the ingredients. So if cloud cover kind of lingers and we see the morning round kind of clear things out better than some of these models may be anticipating, the second round may not be as bad. But something to watch for is certainly the first round would affect the second round. And then you're looking at warming temperatures throughout this week, including above average temperatures through early next week and into the next part of March. 3 days in, you're looking at the next several through March 8th, which, yes, would include Sunday and the clock springing forward. We do have small chances at any drizzle over the next coming days. I don't think the fog like it was last night will be as widespread tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about that. But you look at temperatures warming towards 70 degrees on Friday. And even Friday morning, I think we may see a record low temperature, at least through the early portions of that day, as we may be seeing morning temperatures hang closer to 50 degrees. And when you wake up to that, it certainly kind of feels like there's something brewing. So storms late Thursday into Friday morning. Again, maybe waking up to some thunderstorms before an evening chance. And then we'll kind of clear out for the weekend and what appears to be a beautiful weekend with dry conditions and temperatures seasonal in the 50s, if not closer to 6 degrees by Sunday. And early next week, I think, is trending fairly warm as well. But as we break down these late thunderstorm chances, the first round again would be Thursday night. We're talking about a round of showers and thunderstorms possible as this low pressure system is kind of lifting through the state. A second round is potentially in play, but it will depend on that first round. And we do have a severe weather outlook that includes Nebraska for both of those rounds. So we're going to talk about that here in a second, as well as the huge temperature spread. If you're talking about winter on one side of the state and spring on the other, you're talking temperatures probably in the 30s in western Nebraska, and yes, closer to 70 degrees in southeast Nebraska. So that'll be quite something to see by the time we get to Friday. So still a few days away, certainly. We're not even to Wednesday yet, but we do have an outlook for Thursday. This would largely be Thursday night, as most of Thursday is expected to be quiet. So thunderstorms are largely expected to potentially start in central Nebraska and then race kind of east to northeast. So if I kind of draw that, this outlook is kind of for this reason. So kind of starting kind of on this edge and then racing east, maybe a little northeast with time. The main threat with this would be hail from what we've been looking at. So when we're looking at a marginal risk, it doesn't mean everyone's going to be seeing severe weather, but it could mean there is a stronger storm or two that's leading to a severe thunderstorm warning. I just wanted to confirm if there was a more recent outlook and kind of what. Yeah, it's mainly for. Oh, there we are. Mainly for hail as the main threat. And even in this marginal risk, the Storm Prediction Center, if I get rid of my annotations now, has kind of highlighted this area just up toward Lincoln and in south central Nebraska, part of southeastern Nebraska, but Lincoln not included. I think that could be the better chance to see some larger hail if we do see some stronger storms. So kind of keep that in mind if you are toward the Tri-Cities, Superior, Red Cloud areas, maybe as far as Hebron, maybe not as far as Fairbury, but something we're certainly watching for is this is just a level 1 out of 5 risk. So again, not everyone, not widespread severe weather, but some people may be seeing it Thursday night and into Friday. And then as we talk about Friday, the latest severe weather outlook has possible thunderstorms across southeast Nebraska. Lincoln and Omaha are within this possible yellow outlooked area for a 15% chance at severe weather. Largely with this outlook, the yellow kind of eventually down the line, because this is a funny outlook. This is kind of what we're looking at day 4. So it'll start to look like the more traditional outlook once we get closer to day 3, day 2, and day 1. But when we see day 4, day 5, they highlight these areas of possible and likely severe weather. And so we are within the possible area here in Lincoln, and that yellow area, the possible area, would likely turn into a slight level 2 out of 5 risk, meaning scattered severe storms would be possible. And then the orange area likely to turn into an enhanced risk at least, in which numerous severe thunderstorms would be possible. So that includes Kansas City, eastern Kansas through Oklahoma. We're on the edge of that. Falls City kind of maybe included in that, barely. They're kind of on the edge as I look at this outlook. But kind of breaking down the categories. I did this last night, but if you weren't with me last night, it's just worth it to kind of refresh our memory because we haven't had to talk about severe weather in quite some time. Again, the marginal risk means isolated severe storms possible, maybe 1 or 2 getting a warning. A slight usually means scattered severe storms. Then you get to numerous. And then again, the 4 and the 5, the moderate and the high are rare events. We don't really see many of those in a year across the United States as a whole, let alone here in Nebraska. So higher confidence and higher intensity with some of the severe weather can mean the moderate and high risks, but we can see enhanced certainly in Nebraska. Marginal and slights become pretty common throughout the summer months, so things, of course, we will be keeping a closer eye on as we get through the month of March and head toward those busier, active months in severe weather season, going toward May, June, July, August. But Skycast, again, we don't have shorter range models to look at this event just yet. Still hanging tough with some longer range models, and they show some thunderstorms in central and northeast Nebraska overnight. Doesn't show a lot for southeast Nebraska, but again, I'd take this model with a grain of salt. I don't think we're getting really good placement on where thunderstorms will happen just yet in the short term looking at this. But then you see the snow coming in on Friday on the back end, and going into the late afternoon, evening hours, there could be enough time that some thunderstorms are starting in eastern Nebraska and then getting worse to the east, if not southeast. And this model lately is kind of trending snow a little bit further into central Nebraska on the back edge of that, kind of clearing Friday night. So something to keep in mind. Our best chance at precipitation this week as a whole is Thursday into Friday, and then we clear out for the weekend, and what should be rather pleasant. But some could certainly see snow out of this season, this system, especially in western Nebraska and out in the Panhandle. And then we bring things back to kind of current conditions and what we're expecting here in the short term in the next few days ahead of what will be kind of a busier end to this week. But we got to 47 degrees for your Tuesday, March 3rd, as you're joining me listening to this just after 8 o'clock. We did drop to a low of 38 degrees, but pretty comfortable and certainly warmer than average. We managed to squeeze out a few hundredths of an inch of precipitation from some of that drizzle. Certainly mild in eastern Nebraska in the upper 30s for lows. Some did drop to the 20s in western Nebraska. Quite the spread in afternoon highs, too, depending on the cloud cover and the clearing in some of the widespread fog we had early this morning with dense fog advisories. But middle upper 40s did it for highs. Tacoma struggled to 43 degrees. There were some in the middle 60s in southwest Nebraska. But as for the observed precipitation we've seen over the last 24 hours, again, 0.02 of an inch in Lincoln. I haven't seen a lot of our Tempest stations in Lincoln really recording much. And of course, I have to share with you the joke of our fantastic chief meteorologist, Brad Anderson, because he jokes and he's a really funny guy. And he said, Man, someone must have spilled a drink or something at the Lincoln airport, and it just got to me. But he's like, you know what? That same person must have spilled their drink over at my house because I recorded a 100th of an inch too. And I think we record a 2/hundredths of an inch here at the station as well. So just a little bit. A little more precipitation, though, seen from Wyoming into the Panhandle. Scottsbluff seeing a little more than 1/10 of an inch. Still low-hanging clouds for a dreary look even out there from our Skyview cameras here Tuesday evening, working our way into the nighttime. And I think much of Wednesday will look more of the same. We're still hanging in the lower 40s. The temperatures have been largely unchanging all that much, other than a few degrees. I know we had some baseball weather earlier today for the home opener for the Husker baseball team as they took on Omaha and won. But certainly kind of battling some of those elements with a little drizzle, if not just kind of the dreary temperatures, and the temperatures kind of feeling a bit colder as that game went on. Northeast winds are at about 8 miles per hour, so we do have a wind chill of 37 degrees. Across southeast Nebraska, your temperatures are largely in the lower 40s at this hour, with some still in the lower 50s. Ogallala and Imperial at 51. Ainsworth and Ord have dropped down to 36 degrees with a light, mainly easterly wind. At times, maybe a south and north component, depending on your area. But you certainly see kind of the low-hanging clouds hanging tough over eastern Nebraska. This kind of explains the drop in temperatures out here in central and north central Nebraska in the 30s when you've got some clearing. But then there's some more clouds and some more areas of fairly light rain in southwest Nebraska. But as I show you visibility, we're still hanging closer to normal, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles of visibility, so this isn't overly dense. And what I'm expecting for the visibility heading into tomorrow morning, let me go back in time. This is midnight, this is 5, 6 a.m. You'll see there's this band, and at times when we see a low-level cloud deck, it can be just the narrow edge kind of producing some denser fog before there's clearing and rapid clearing. So there could be dense fog and kind of changing visibilities over a short distance tomorrow if you've got to travel out toward Holdridge, south central Nebraska, or even up toward Ord and O'Neill. They may be at times affected by a little fog early tomorrow morning before things will get better. But patchier in nature, of course, than compared to last night. As we go to our Skycast model, it shows those low-hanging clouds over eastern Nebraska, again, remaining pretty tough overnight and into tomorrow coming back before eroding away, and I think we could try to see some late sunshine before the sun is kind of setting. Before I think we'll see the clouds kind of, there you see it, come back, but a little more sunshine to the day on Thursday. A little bit more of a wind, too, out of the south, working to bring in some more moisture because we know we've got to replenish the moisture out there for any hope at thunderstorm chances by the end of this week. In the meantime, we're warming toward the lower 50s tomorrow, so tack on a few more degrees compared to today. We have kept a 20% chance for any patchy drizzle with the low-hanging clouds. And your 3-day precipitation outlook now includes Friday, and this has been trending upward in hopes of seeing some more precipitation in eastern Nebraska. Those blues would mean, I think, toward 3/4 of an inch, if not more. So that would include Omaha and far southeastern Nebraska. Again, with the nature of thunderstorms, it's hard to know right where they're going to form. And of course, there will be locally higher amounts where those thunderstorms end up happening. So even your 7-day precipitation potential doesn't change all that much because the main event for precipitation over the next 7 days will be the snow and the rain by the end of this week, Thursday and into Friday. Your Schaefer's Lincoln forecast at 9 o'clock tonight, still around 42 degrees, low-hanging clouds, patchy drizzle possible into tomorrow morning with a low close to 38 degrees, similar to what we had today, but fighting to get toward 50 degrees, which is seasonal for this time of the year, as our average highs are now at 48 degrees. With clearing out west, temperatures should drop to the upper 20s. Your forecasted highs with more sunshine out west and in central and western Nebraska should get them to the 60s, but I think we'll be stuck in the upper 40s, if not lower 50s, in far eastern Nebraska for your Wednesday. Thursday, again, warmer still. Then we all join in at least the 60s for more comfortable temperatures, if not the lower 70s in southwest Nebraska. And then the seasons duke it out. Look at this. Quite the temperature spread. 35 in Alliance for a high. In fact, even 34 in Ainsworth. And not that far away, you're looking at highs in the 40s, the 50s, and maybe trying for 70 degrees in Lincoln. We'll have to kind of time out that system to see if we can warm up that fast and if the clouds kind of break to give us a chance to see the environment rejuvenate and kind of come back to life for another round, potentially at severe weather. So again, we are looking at 2 potential rounds of severe weather going Thursday night into Friday morning, and again by late Friday afternoon into the evening hours. A couple humps in the 10-day temperature trend as you look at temperatures warming towards 70 degrees on Friday and then the middle 70s by next Monday. And I think we've even been conservative on that forecast as some models are trying to trend toward 80 degrees. And then a sharp drop off from Tuesday into Wednesday back into the upper 30s. So we are still ping-ponging around with all the temperatures and still winter trying to hold on for at least some chillier temperatures below average toward the middle of next week. But there I mentioned it. McCook trying for 81 degrees next Monday, the 9th. This is just past daylight saving time beginning. Again, we'll have to set those clocks forward an hour on Sunday. A wide spread in temperatures no matter where you look in this 10-day forecast. The best precipitation chances are coming Thursday into Friday and largely throughout the day on Friday, and then again next Tuesday. And as you can imagine, with that big change in temperatures, maybe going to see some weather and some wet weather out of that. But your 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook still doesn't show a convincing story of anything. I mean, we're in the green, but it's not a great chance at above average precipitation. The better chance at above average precipitation is toward the northeast, and even towards some of the Great Lakes. Your 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, though, is still including some blues hinting at below average temperatures toward the middle of the month. So something we'll have to keep an eye on. For your 7-day forecast, again, looking at temperatures warming throughout this week and a little more wind, of course, with that classic spring system Thursday into Friday. Highs closer to 70 degrees or trying for 70 degrees on Friday. It'll kind of feel more like spring as we get more moisture returning to the atmosphere. Trying to set the stage for not 1 but 2 rounds of severe weather. In fact, again, I'll go over that in case you missed it. We do have a marginal risk for Thursday night into Friday that includes much of central Nebraska into eastern Nebraska from Ainsworth, North Platte, McCook east. And that's likely where those thunderstorms would try to start out and then move to the east. And then if the atmosphere can rejuvenate, we're looking at potential for some more severe weather in far eastern Nebraska, including Lincoln and Omaha, by the late afternoon and evening time frame. So certainly be weather aware by the end of this week. As we talk about your Thursday into your Friday, we'll be, of course, working to fine-tune the details, give you a tighter timeline on when to stay severe weather and weather aware going into the end of this week, especially as we get some of those short-term models to look at this event. And, of course, we will be looking at that in our next streaming sessions, of course, tomorrow morning at 10:30, and again with me at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. But in the meantime, hope everyone has a great Tuesday evening, and we'll see you next time.
1011 News is everywhere. Download